Hello, welcome back to this channel. My name is Dr. Arzu Chabra and I have a PhD in organic chemistry and I'm also a mindset coach for college students. So the topic for today's discussion or today's pod is trying to fit in a multicultural environment. And what do I really mean by that? So this pod is more like a story time because this is more from my own real life experience. This is something that I actually experienced firsthand when I was in my late 20s or when I was over 25 and below 30, and I actually lived in a multicultural environment, which was America, when I was getting my PhD. So what I was actually learning was that when I was in India, right, I had all the friends and I never felt like I was not seen when I was hanging out with my friends. And I had friends from different aspects of life. So for example, if I was a science student, some of my friends were in commerce, right? They were studying accounting. Some of my other friends were entrepreneurs. Some of my other friends were doing different things, but we were able to connect so well somehow. And I never felt like I actually was trying to fit in, even though we were different, right? Even though I had some of the qualities that they did not have, they had some of the qualities that I didn't have, and they had some interests that I didn't have. However, it just felt like a really good group of friends hanging out and never felt like a problem until I moved to America. So at first, again, because I was so open-minded, I was adventurous and I am always looking to expand my horizons into different cultures, different environments, different landscapes, and different religions. I was becoming friends with people from all walks of life, and I had friends who were from different countries, which is what America stands for, right? It is the melting pot of the world. It's where most people from different parts of the world come together and live together. And I had friends from Africa. I had friends from South America. I had friends from America. I had friends from India. I had friends from Pakistan. So all these different places, I was becoming friends with people of all the different cultures. And when I was in school, I did not have a problem. Again, I was very social and I was hanging out with everybody. I had no problems again, right? And that the reason was that the one thing that was actually connecting all of us was chemistry, because I was a chemistry major getting my PhD, and I was able to just talk to everybody and we had a common bond, which was chemistry, right? And even with my professors, with my other friends, my batchmates, my lab mates, we had a common bond, which was chemistry. And so the important thing, what I'm gonna say here now, is that my friends were able to see me, they kind of know me as a good chemistry student, right? My friends knew who I was, so they were reflecting that back to me as who I was, that was a competent, or that is a competent, very smart, a good chemistry student, or a good student in general, right? My teachers saw me for who I was, and so I saw me for who I was, so then I knew who I was. However, shit started hitting the fan when I decided to go out on dates with the people who were not chemistry majors, or because I decided not to mix chemistry, not to mix business with pleasure. So I decided that I'm not going to date anybody. I'm not going out on a date with anybody who is actually going to be a chemistry major, right? Who is not from the lab or who's not a PhD student and I know them from work. I did not want to date anybody from work. And guess what happened? I started going out and meeting new people who were doing other things. Like they were in their journeys of becoming doctors. They were chemical engineers, but doing other things. And guess what happened? This is so I can't think of, it's just making me crack open right now. Guess what happened? I wasn't telling them that, hey, I'm a good student, right? Like, hey, acknowledge me for being so smart or whatever, right? Like I wasn't displaying my competency on my sleeve. So then what happened was, when I would go out with them and I would talk to them, what would actually happen is, very quickly after talking about what I actually do, we started really talking about what movies do you watch, what TV channel do you watch, what music do you listen to. And honest to God, I suck at that. I suck at that because I have mastered being a good student by actually spending hours on being a good student, right? I have and then besides that, when I'm not studying, I'm working out, and that's like the other hobby, and it's a very serious hobby as well. It's not like a hobby. Like, I used to be a cyclist and I used to like cycle 50 kilometers on a weekly basis and 30 kilometers on a daily basis, right? I mean, my athletic interests were very serious interests. So they were not just hobbies that I was pursuing on every other weekend or every other month. Those were the two things that actually I was spending most of my time on when I was in school. So then when I was sitting down on a table and talking to all of my dates about movies and music, it sucked so bad because I did not know that. I haven't watched a lot of the movies, and I very selectively listen to music that makes me dance because I love dancing. So it was awful to be saying that I haven't watched that movie, I haven't listened to that song, I don't know this rapper and all that stuff, and it felt embarrassing. It felt like I didn't belong there, and I felt so dissociated with like the culture. I felt like I did not belong there. I completely felt small. I felt like, what was I doing? Like, I felt like not competent. I didn't feel like myself, right? And that kind of experience, interaction with people happened with me, I guess, a couple times, and it was very evident that I wasn't enjoying that, right? And I started feeling like I was not cool. I felt like I was not a cool person. Like really, I thought I was so cool. I have my shit together. I have a great career, right? I have my physical fitness in check. I have my mental fitness in check because I was a meditator, and I thought I was doing great. However, when I'm going out on dates, the experience is the opposite, right? I'm feeling like I'm not cool. Like, I'm feeling like I'm missing out on life. Like, what am I doing? Types of experience. And so I wasn't sure what was going on, and I was kind of disappointed until I asked this question to my coach, who I was working with like 2 years ago. And I asked her, why do I feel so small when I'm hanging out with other people? Why do I feel so uncool? But I think I'm cool, but like, why do I have the experience of feeling uncool? And guess what she said? She said, Arzu, what are your values? And that question was like the missing piece of the puzzle. That question was the answer to everything that I was thinking about. I was thinking that how do people of different culture come together and are actually able to be in a relationship if they have so many differences, right? And then that only made sense because they had similar values. Everything, this was like the missing piece in the puzzle. Everything made sense, and I felt so embarrassed that I did not understand that I did not know that was the deeper connection between all of us. Starting that day, I started working on my values. I took my journal out and started really thinking about what are the things in my life that I actually value in terms of the qualities, in terms of human qualities, in terms of the kind of life I want to live, and so some of the things that are actually or that I actually want to imbibe. So at that time, I already was valuing some of these qualities that I'm going to share now. And then eventually I started also working on or started focusing on other values as well, which is a reflection of the kind of life that I live right now. So let's talk about those values. So one of the qualities or the value that I have been imbibing as a person, as a human being, is no gossip value, right? I am never adding fuel to the fire, or I'm never the fire, and I'm never participating in gossip. So I always like life without any excess drama. I don't participate in all of that. So that was something that I was already enjoying, and so I wanted to find other people or look for that quality in other people, because I did not want to really be sitting on a date and actually be talking about other people's problems, right? So the second value that I was actually already imbibing was being kind, because I knew I was always looking at the brighter side of the picture in any given situation, for myself, for other people, and I was always giving other people the benefit of the doubt. I was not usually trying to find criticism, or not usually trying to critique other people. And the third value that I was already imbibing at the time was being passionate. So I was passionate about teaching, so I was being really good at being a good chemistry teaching assistant in the labs or classes wherever I was teaching, my recitation sections. And as a result of that, I also got 2 awards for being a good teaching assistant. My students really appreciated me, the way I taught them. The other value that I was already imbibing at that time was humor, right? And so I was trying to be funny. But here's the other thing though, right? That actually I learned that I do not like the self-depreciating humor that a lot of people love. And I had kind of cut myself off from that, which is important. A lot of people in the West kind of enjoy that kind of humor. They depreciate themselves and then also other people, but in a funny way. But then after I learned how language is actually so important to creating your results, how we talk about things and how we actually talk about ourselves reflect a lot about who you are, I stopped enjoying the self-depreciating humor. And but in general, I love being humorous. I appreciate other people who are humorous, and I was always being friends with people who were humorous. So these were all the qualities that I was already imbibing. So then I started looking for these qualities in other people who I would go out on dates with. I started learning a lot more about values, and I started getting in this world of personal development. I started and then I learned some of the other values that I also wanted to imbibe. So one of the very important qualities that I wanted to imbibe was vulnerability. The ability to be more authentic, to share more experiences of yourself where I'm not proud of myself, to share more experiences which are not the highlight of my life, to share more experiences where I have not had the best result, to only show that I'm human, to only show the side of me which is not perfect, which is not so competent. So that side of me which is vulnerable, and I started seeing the value in that, and I started seeing that it makes me more human and less of a robot, because I just wanted to look perfect, sound perfect, right? But then after I learned the value of being vulnerable, I was able to accept myself for all those parts of me that are not perfect, that are still in the process of learning. And so that was awesome. I was able to express myself for who I was, and not just like the good parts of me. I started imbibing more of that, and started talking about more of my mistakes in my life with my friends, and the friends that I had just made, right? And my new friends, not even like the friend. Otherwise, it would have taken me a long time to actually express myself and build that trust and relationships with people before I could actually open up. But this time, now I was just opening up really fast, right? Like I was just being able to be myself. Like, this is who I am. This is some of my strengths. These are some of my weaknesses. So was not really a problem. After later on, I started working with my coach and started learning the value in vulnerability, right? The other value that I worked with the other value that I started imbibing was the value of financial freedom, right? And I wanted to and passion together. So I wanted to create my life based on passion. I wanted to at the same time make money with the things that I was passionate about, and not the things that I just don't like doing. So I started going more towards the things that I was actually very, very passionate about, right? So that's why I'm like an organic chemistry tutor and a mindset coach, because then I love helping students and help them get out of their mental cages. This is what I love doing. Like, I would do it any day for anybody, right? And I love to teach people how perceptions can truly change their lives. And the way I actually help myself out of this mental prison, I love doing that for other people. And that's why I'm also a mindset coach for college students. The other value that I also learned, or am also imbibing in myself, is my ability to be emotionally expressive with other people, right? In my relationships. So earlier on, I was not taught to be expressive. Like, it almost was like a part of me was shut down. I wasn't very fully expressive. It was not so easy for me to tell my parents that I love them, even though a part of me like wanted to just like say it so bad, like, I love you. But it was just really hard, right? And however, when I grew older, kind of realized the value, kind of realized how shut off I was. And I was not internally shut off, but like the facade was shut off. So then I started just expressing myself in relationships, with my friendships, with my parents, with my siblings. And now I'm very easily able to open up and say how I actually feel. So a lot of my friendships now, we hang up by saying I love you. We really care about each other, and it's like a really beautiful close-knitted bond where we are able to say the things that you would think you only would say to a soulmate, right? So that kind of friendships is something that I've started to develop and started to form. And after actually embodying more of these qualities on an everyday basis, my vulnerability, my kindness, my want, my desire to actually help people get out of their mental prisons, and being more vulnerable, being more authentic, and then expressing myself, I actually found this cool community of people who are also like now my best friends. They became close like a family at the time when I was in America, and they were imbibing all of those qualities. They were the kind of people who were those value systems, right? They were embodying, expressing themselves like that. They were being vulnerable with each other, and nobody ever asked me what movies or what music do I listen to, and that was no longer making me feel like I didn't belong there, right? So this is actually how I changed my life, and now I take this approach to other people when I'm going out on dates with other people from different cultures, and I never feel anything like that anymore, because first of all, my choosing criteria is different, right? I choose people who are also about other things that I care about and are not just superficially thinking or living their lives based on just the superficial things, and are really more deeper or really care about the deeper things in life. It just felt normal, right? I had friends from all over this world. I'm able to be myself and still be able to have friendships, like really, really tight friendships from all across the globe, and it's no longer a problem when I go out on dates with other people from different cultures, because I feel so comfortable with what my values are. So then I'm also able to connect with people on those deeper values. It just completely changed my life and the way I operate in this world. So if you got something out of this video today, mention that in the comment section, because this life-changing experience, this one feedback from my coach was so helpful, and that's why it was so important for me to share here how my life completely changed from a feeling so small to actually feeling more expanded and feeling so comfortable about being myself, that I really had to share here. And if you want to hear more stories like this, feel free to subscribe to my channel so you can keep getting an insight on my intercultural experiences in America. Bye now.